The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Back on the David Pakman Show. Lewis, I thought we'd look back at what we were talking about a year ago, 2 years ago, see if it was relevant in the long run. Is that a good idea?
All right.
Okay. 1 year ago, producer Lewis actually agreed to dye his hair bright red if Christine O'Donnell won her Senate election in November. And fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, that didn't happen.
So, well, because I was confident she would not, so.
And you were right.
Yeah.
A year ago, we were talking about provisions from the new health care bill being in effect, including the lifetime limit on coverage being lifted, pre-existing conditions, all of that type of thing. And we were actually saying, will Democrats during the next year use this to their advantage in a significant enough way? I think now looking back, the answer is no. Democrats did not do as well as they could by selling the fact that they had passed so many of these provisions in that healthcare bill. I think they didn't do a good enough job of it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not. I would say there's so much opposition. What could they have done? The whole bill was a watered down piece of.
It was, but
I mean, come on.
Piece of legislation. Strategically, I think Democrats could have done a much better job into that 2010 election and should hopefully do a better job into the 2012 election of selling all of the positive aspects of that bill that passed. 2 years ago, we were talking about Senator Dianne Feinstein saying she's fine with Guantanamo Bay detainees coming to California prisons once Barack Obama closes Guantanamo Bay. Now that we
have to worry about that, huh?
Now that we've had 2 years to look back on it, it didn't happen. And some people saying it was a mistake of Barack Obama's to so specifically promise closing Guantanamo Bay when it turned out he just couldn't do it. And remember, we were also talking 2 years ago to this day, John McCain believed it was the right move to close Guantanamo Bay. Now, John McCain since then has really kind of flown off the deep end and has become somebody we can barely pay any attention to, which is definitely, I don't know that we could have predicted that 2 years ago.
No, it's like he was hiding his beliefs while running
to appear more moderate.
Yeah.
Or he just became a kind of cranky old man, which is the reputation he has now.
After losing? Well, we did hear that he was very bitter about that.
Yeah. Also 2 years ago, we were talking about Roman Polanski. Remember the entire Roman Polanski incident where he was... What exactly did happen 2 years ago with Roman Polanski? There was a deportation or an extradition request, which was then denied. I'm having trouble even remembering the details.
Well, he won an award for a movie, right, Natan?
Recently, he won an award in Switzerland.
Well, this was 2 years ago.
No, I mean 2 years ago, I think he won an Oscar or something.
No, that was when he won Best Director for The Pianist in 2002, that he didn't show up to the Oscars that year.
No, but this is a story from 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was arrested
maybe
in
it just
Switzerland.
had to do with a trial or something.
Right, he was arrested in Switzerland, and then there was a question of, is he going to be extradited?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember my point at the time was, for everything that went on around it and for how long it's been, could we really get around the fact that Polanski did flee the legal system after admitting to raping a girl? That was my thing at the time, and not everybody agreed with me, including Natan.
The only thing that people always get wrong is that the plea deal that he was offered, but then the judge reneged on it originally in 1978 wasn't rape of a minor or rape of anything. It was just it was a lesser charge. That wasn't the actual plea deal.
That's true. That is correct. But he was going to be doing jail time, and he did flee.
Right.
Okay, so that's what was going on the show 1 year and 2 years ago.